Stop! Everybody's screaming, stop! Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Mystery Maniacs. Mystery Maniacs is a recap podcast dedicated to mystery TV. Each week, we dig into an episode of a show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, and everything else we love. This week,
Brokenwood, Season 2, Episode 2, To Die or Not to Die.
I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
We forget to introduce ourselves a lot.
This is a spoiler podcast. We're going to give away who the killer is. So if you haven't watched it, stop right now. Go watch it. Come back. Or we'll ruin it for you.
I have covered Mr. Tim Baum with praise for this show.
Yeah?
This is not his best work.
There are some things I like about this episode. The plot isn't one of them.
Yeah, there's a whole... It's like the whole rest of the organization is working to make this a better episode because it's like the stars aren't coming out today, dude.
Sam's fun. Sims is fun. Mike is fun. Gina is fun.
Yep.
There's fun stuff in the background. The actors are not bad. It's very midsummery, but not in the quirky, fun midsummery way.
It's spin the wheel and do the second year episode about
Amateur theater. Yeah.
It's right off of that.
So it's centered on Hamlet,
Yes.
which was Shakespeare's longest play. And Hamlet has more words, more lines than any other character written by Shakespeare
Yes. Well, okay. In one play.
in one play.
Because Flagstaff has more lines if you put all the plays together that he's in.
Have you ever been in a play?
Right from my notes, I have. Have you been in a Shakespeare or play or been on stage, Sarah?
I ask because I have not. I've been in musical theater,
Yes.
but not in dramatics. I've worked backstage. I've made props. I've helped build sets, all that fun stuff. But I've never had to learn that many lines. And I just don't know how people do it. And I realize they learn them. They don't memorize them. They learn them.
And it's practice. You very often don't start as a lead character, right? You start.
I just don't think I could pack that much into my brain. You can't mess up the words of Shakespeare. If you're doing a modern play and you flub a few words, but the point, you deliver the message of the line, but you miss a few words, nobody's going to notice or care. No. But you cannot do that with Shakespeare. There's somebody in the audience who knows it as well as you do, or you've just flubbed their favorite line.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine packing that much into my head.
I've only appeared live on stage in a dramatic role once where I played Death at a party.
So you had no lines?
I had 2 lines.
Death doesn't speak.
I'm like a minor Death. It was a mythology play.
Oh, okay. You weren't like the Grim Reaper.
No. Well, I was a minor Grim Reaper. I had a sickle instead of a scythe.
How old were you?
I was maybe 20.
Okay.
I played it like an air guitar. So.
Okay.
And that was it.
Do you remember your lines?
No. It was mostly they needed somebody and I was playing guitar in the band and they were like, well, why don't you do this? So it was funny. The last night of the show when the orchestra came up, I kept my costume on for that night so that people would see that I had makeup and costume on and all that
That's
stuff.
the other thing is that there are some stage plays that run night after night after night after night. And I know like The Mousetrap has been on for a long time and there's more than one person who plays every role. But still, you're playing that role 5 times a week? I just can't imagine doing the same thing every night. That would make me crazy.
Yeah. Between that play and when I was a stage manager in high school in the play, I've never been so exhausted, I don't think, except for maybe when I was working crazy hours. We did, the play I was in college, we did Thursday night, Friday night, and 2 shows on Saturday and 2 shows on Sunday.
That's more than I could take.
Just exhausted, just completely exhausted.
Well, these people in Brokenwood are not exhausted.
Well, I'm going to tell you how invested in the plot of this episode I am. Did you have a look at the crowd who comes to see the play.
Not the first one. I looked closely when Rafe is on stage at the end. I looked at the audience, but not at the audience when the first murder happens.
There's an incredibly awesome gothy lady and a guy who's like a caveman.
I always wonder if those people show up dressed like that or if they dress them like that.
Well, he's not a caveman. He just looks like a caveman, and she looks quite comfortable in her gothy little outfit.
So you don't think they were like, you, extra, you're going to be the gothy one?
No, I don't think so. I
think these
they
people
were
just showed up in their own clothes?
We need people, and we need you to be here. Now, Caveman misses the second performance outside. And I have they have a really good theater that they go to rehearse in.
Yeah.
And then they go outside. Why are they doing that?
I think they probably would have to pay to use that theater.
Maybe. Okay.
And maybe they're just using it for rehearsal because somebody died.
But Gothy lady comes back.
Oh, she's there for the reprise.
She's there for the reprise. I have in my notes, if only there was a boorish, overacting white guy. Oh, wait. Who's the killer? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you think of Amadeus.
It does.
And Midsummer, right?
It makes you think of Amadeus and Midsummer. And there's always, like, it's kind of a truism and kind of a not a truism that theater people are overly dramatic. It's a crutch to lean on in this episode.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
I don't like that it's such a small group. And there's like two groups, right? There's the over 50 set. And then there's like the under 25 set and nobody in the middle.
No.
And they seem to be so intertwined, like in advance. I realize they're an existing theater troupe, but everybody's been married to somebody or hit on somebody or dated something. Like, it's just, I know it's a small town, but there's just too much going on between the characters.
Now, I understand what you're saying, but there was a theater troupe in the small town where I came from. I won't mention the town name again now because you can look up that theater troupe fairly easily. And I took part of the things I did in high school was I was a cameraman for community television and then a director for them. And wow, we filmed a couple of their productions and it was a hotbed of mess.
It's stressful and you have to spend so much time
Somebody
together.
stomped off stage when they weren't supposed to.
Oh.
Yeah. It was just bizarre.
My crazy, we'll get back to one thing. My craziest theater experience was in college. They put on Noises Off.
Yes.
Which you've probably seen the movie of.
Yeah.
It's a play about a play, right?
Yes.
And so we built this giant set that pivoted. So we turned the entire stage set 180 degrees between scenes, parts of the play, to show the back side of the stage or the front side of the stage, depending on where the action was happening. And we were supposed to it was 2 stories, and we were supposed to make sure, no matter what, that there was no one on the set when we moved it. That was absolutely drilled into us. Do not rotate the set if anyone is on the set, right?
Yeah.
Because it's basically like a 2-sided balcony with a wall in the middle.
Yes.
You know, well, one night, some guy, props guy, he was a little rat of a man dressed all in black, right?
Yeah.
He was on the 2nd story and we rotated that thing and he started screaming. And everybody in the theater, both sides of the curtain, heard it. And we looked up and he was hanging from the 2nd story from the balcony. And if he had fallen, he would have fallen probably about 15 feet.
Wow.
Onto the stage. Hardwood stage, you know?
Yep.
And so they were like, stop! Everybody's screaming, stop! We had to get a ladder, get him down, because he couldn't pull himself back up again.
Oh my gosh, poor guy.
He was screaming, my arms, because his arms weren't going to, he had like little noodle arms. He wasn't going to pull himself up.
You're going to have nightmares about that.
We kind of laughed because he was kind of a rat, you know? Well. Do you have a favorite Hamlet, by the way?
I really like Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet because, well, first of all, everybody's in it.
Everybody's in it, yeah.
but I like what he does with Fortinbras. And I really like when I was in undergrad is when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern came out, the film. We had all read the movie, the play, because we're all
Nerds.
postmodern nerds, and that was a huge thing for us. That was, and like, the problem with Shakespeare is I think they do a great job because Mike falls asleep and is bored with this because Hamlet is a long play.
Yes.
Which has boring bits.
It does.
And it has incredibly dull bits in it. And then Kristen is kind of the defender of the faith here, too. So I think that that's all great.
I don't have a favorite, but I have a least favorite, and that's the Mel Gibson movie version that came out in the 90s.
Never saw that because I looked at that and went, no.
One reviewer said that his performance was so bad, it was, quote, subtly nuanced as a paper bag and as inspired as a telemarketing call.
Wow.
Ouch.
Like Mel Gibson does action.
That's worse than that movie he did with the puppet.
Yeah. He does action and all sorts of things really well. He doesn't do inner turmoil.
No.
Kenneth Branagh is much better at the inner turmoil.
Yes. So Rafe St. John,
who does a great Captain Kirk, went after they come back after the cold open.
Yeah.
Rafe walks up to the crime scene and he does an amazing Captain Kirk. He's like, I feel like this play. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic, Captain Kirk.
He's right out of Midsummer.
Yeah.
Like he's a transplant. His name's Ralph St. John, and he says it's Rafe St. John.
Yeah.
Like he is right out of Midsummer. He's a washed up, could have been.
Yep.
With big ideas.
Well,
a personality larger than life.
He and Sir Ian McKellar are close friends.
The thing is, though, is that the actor Peter Hambleton was in the Lord of the Rings movies and does have a big role in them.
Okay, he's in The Hobbit. He's not in Lord of the Rings.
He's in The Hobbit. He has a big role in The Hobbit.
He has a big role, and he is Gimli's father.
Yeah.
In The Hobbit.
So I think they may have put that in as a joke.
Oh, that's
specifically for him.
Total goofing on that.
Plus, I think every actor in New Zealand probably has some connection to the Lord of the Rings movies.
I agree, but his
and that's probably a running
in
joke.
IMDb is him dressed up as a dwarf.
Yeah.
That's an example of what I'm talking about. I think everybody was like, this plot is phoning it in, but we're going to have fun with the rest of it.
Yeah. Ben dies on stage.
Yes.
It's not an asthma attack.
I'm not really, okay. I don't really like Ben.
You don't mind that he dies?
I'm not really upset by, but I don't really like anybody in the production except for Jared.
Well, that's kind of what shows like Brokenwood and Midsummer do well, is they make sure the person who dies is somebody you're not attached to.
Oh,
like if anything, if they're in the episode for any amount of time, you're kind of hoping they're going to die soon.
Yes.
And then they do. And you're like, oh, good. Okay. I mean, when the Rainbirds die, you're not upset about it. You're like, good, they're awful.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it could have been Rafe who got killed.
It could have been.
Because he establishes himself as being over the top well before Ben dies.
Again, do we have a boorish white overactor? Yes.
Yes. It's a little bit confusing to me how they think the blood pack, initially they think the blood pack could have killed Ben.
Yes.
Because, yes, it does have a pin in it that breaks the balloon, but it didn't break his skin. So how could that have possibly been the murder weapon?
I don't know.
Okay. And I guess that they don't really. My favorite part of this episode is Sam and his visits to Smelly Nelly.
Smelly Nelly.
And his fear of his English teacher.
And the fear
Those
of his
two
English
things I think are the best parts of this episode.
They're fantastic. I love how Paula Worthington calls her dogs the twins.
Yes. The twins will be upset if I don't get home.
And we are, I must admit, guilty of this also. I've said to you, it's the baby outside.
Yeah. But I've never said to somebody, I have to get home or my 3-year-old will wonder where I am.
Yes.
You know, because otherwise there's no way anybody's going to think Olive is a child. But I left my 3-year-old at home alone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're in a hurry. That means you're a bad parent.
Yeah, the whole blood pack thing is weird because Mike smells the bitter almonds off of it right away from his.
But it's actually coming from Ben's breath. It's coming from his mouth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's why the blood pack plot doesn't make sense.
Okay, so I looked this up.
Yeah.
Because I want to be on lists for my searches. And the smell of almonds on your breath from cyanide poisoning doesn't mean that it was orally ingested.
Oh, it doesn't.
If it's injected into your blood, it still emanates from your mouth.
Oh, we're on a list.
Then I looked up amyl nitrate.
Yes.
So, I'm on that list too.
The cops are coming to our house. I absolutely love. It was a big fail in police college. And Mike goes, your only fail. And then she goes, there is that. And that tells so much about Mike having her number.
Yeah.
Mike knowing what bothers her.
Yeah.
Her having the maturity to admit, that is me.
Yeah.
Like
Sims is a keener.
Yeah.
She would have been an absolute keener in police college.
Oh, she shows up early on the first day.
She would have. She would have had every
and then
note.
she drops the line that every Macbeth story has. The rotten in the state of whatever.
Something's rotten in the state of Brokenwood.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that being able to smell cyanide was like being able to taste cilantro not badly. But it is. It is. Some people just can't pick up on it.
Mike gets out of his car and he pats the top of it. Mm-hmm. It's like, good car.
I used to do that. With my first car, my first car was my baby.
Yeah.
It was a 65 Plymouth Fury 2.
Yep.
And I knew every bolt and screw in that car. And when I walked away from it, I would pat the hood, and sometimes I would talk to it.
Just have no relationship to cars like that.
I don't now. To a modern car.
There is so much car in male culture.
Yeah.
And I was so disinterested in male culture.
Yeah.
And I had an awesome role model in my father who cared so little about cars.
Yeah.
That
I wouldn't have felt that way if I hadn't put so much work into that car. I wasn't so proud of it.
Yeah, like my father was always like, oh, there's something wrong with the car. Take it, go get it fixed.
Mike's face when they pull up to the police station and Sam has his car outside with the hood up is perfect. It's like passing your child being put in the back of an ambulance. Like, what has happened? Oh my gosh, and it's just his car. He goes through wives, but that car is his steady girl,
Yep. Gina calls Hamlet the Russian play. Because Gina is
someone makes bad decisions and bad things happen anyway. It's Russian.
Gina is the perfect immigrant character in that they relate everything back to their original home country.
Yeah.
You're never as more your country than when you're in another country.
Yeah. When you're in Canada, you're just you, but when you're here, you are a Canadian, not in Canada. Do you want to throttle Juliet from the very first second?
I was just about to say, can we just not talk about Juliet at all?
I just dislike her so much.
She is so annoying.
And when Kristen suggests that maybe her mom has made her ill and has been manipulating her, you get this little glimpse of sympathy for Juliet. You think, oh, that poor woman, maybe she's like that because somebody who is supposed to love her has broken her.
Yeah.
But that's not the case at all. She's just like that.
And how old is she supposed to be?
At least 23, 24, I would guess.
Because her parents are way too involved in her well, certainly her father is way too involved in her romantic life. And like Jared seems adult to her.
Yeah. But only because he acts like an adult.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be 25, 26.
Yeah.
I think she's a little bit younger than that, but she acts like a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't have an English teacher for a mom. I can only imagine if you were surrounded by it all the time. I have 3 English degrees, and I've got no Ruth in me.
Okay, we have 4 English degrees in this house,
yes.
and our children are not bonkers in that way.
And not interested in Shakespeare or literature or drama or anything. They're not even grammar nerds.
No.
We've kind of failed, actually.
We have failed.
But the relationship between Ruth and Juliet, they're close. If you take the Juliet's broken out of it, it's like they're very close. It's nice that her mom is there sticking up for her at the hospital and trying to get her good care.
But she is also, I know better than doctors.
Oh, yeah, totally. And Juliet is milking it for everything she can get to.
Yes. When they go back into the emergency room, there's a kid there. It looks like he's in the Jets. there's a guy.
In the Smoko band.
Yeah,
okay. I was like,
band.
in the
He's
Jets?
got
What do you mean?
long ginger hair. He doesn't say anything, or he's not like got a bandage on his arm or anything. But yeah, I have Smokos in the ER.
Paula, who plays Hamlet's mother in the play, she who of lying about the twins.
Yes.
There's one thing I like about her and one thing I hate about her. What I really like about her is her hair in the play is epic.
It is.
It is perfectly awesome. She has those light streaks in the front and they put them into curls. It's sort of Bride of Frankenstein-y just a little bit. But it is awesome.
And she is committed.
Yeah, that's what I love about her. What I hate about her is that she has a charity called Awesome Orphans with a Z.
With a Z.
It should be Awesome. Awesome Orphans.
Okay, this is the things I don't like, because they're a small theater company that's barely getting by. They're not raising money for charity.
No.
They're raising money for themselves.
They're not even paying for themselves.
The whole charity plot comes in and goes out, and Ben is the only beneficiary of the charity.
He's a grown-up. He's not an orphan anymore.
Yeah. Awesome orphans.
I think if you're 19, you're not an orphan. If you're 16, okay. But if you're an adult, you're not an orphan anymore.
Neil Bloom.
Not from the outside. I'm not saying that you can't feel like one. I'm sure that people who lose their parents feel like one their whole lives.
Yes.
But charities for orphans don't often raise money for adults.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
I agree. Neil Bloom is back, and he's got a partner in town, so he doesn't have to drive so far. They deal with that right away.
He's a pharmacist, not a chemist.
Yep.
This is kind of the start of Neil being a regular character, though. Like when he and Mike are talking in the theater, it's clear that Neil's not a suspect.
Do we see Billy again? I think we see Billy again.
I don't know.
I think Billy's in the Lord of the Rings episode as an elf.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like an extra in the Lord of the Rings thing that they do?
Yes.
The costume shop is curious to me. Even if it supports 2 towns.
Why?
There is not enough business in 2 towns
they
to
have
support
a giant workshop.
Yes.
Which has a giant dinosaur skull in it. What? Are they a prop shop and a workshop? And
they're a theater and costume shop and costume rental.
But that doesn't include a giant dinosaur head.
But they're going to do Flintstones the musical. That's the next thing that they're...
know.
So, of course, they need a giant dinosaur head.
I know, but why is it in the costume shop?
Because they've got the props there for the show.
Okay, so they do props.
They do, yes.
Do.
They do a great job of having those Flintstones costumes behind them all the time.
Yes.
Like Betty and Barney are right there, they're consistent with that.
And the skull is... there are a couple of posters at the theater, and we'll deal with one of them later. One of them says, make art not
Be merry.
Yes, make art, be merry. I was like, what are the other posters? And then later on, we're given a gift of one of the posters.
Yeah. What do you think about Smelly Nelly?
She has a fantastic security system. So she's got the box because somebody has told her you have to have a box if you're going to have cyanide.
Yeah.
And then they were like, and it has to be locked.
Secure.
And so then they left. And Smelly Nelly's like, the key should be right here.
It's convenient.
Where I won't forget it.
Her whole place is great. Like, how many possums are there in Brokenwood? I guess she's a licensed exterminator. That's why she's allowed to have cyanide. Like, do they have a possum problem? Because her whole place is covered in possum
They don't
skins.
have a possum problem now because she has killed them all.
How many could there be?
I don't know. And remember, way back when we covered the Christmas episode of Brokenwood, I remember you saying there was no large mammals that were indigenous to
New Zealand.
New Zealand. So somebody brought all those possums.
And maybe that's it. Maybe that they're not a native species, so they're invasive. So it's okay to kill all of them. And that's what Nellie's doing and turning them into face cream.
Breen is trying to be the professional.
When he shows up at the cop shop with the gray stuff under his eyes, you know what it is.
Yep. It's just
before they even notice it, you notice it. I love that. We're in on the joke.
Yep,
we get the
right
joke
away.
before the other characters even know that there's a joke. We know what it is.
Sure as a bull hump a heifer. That is some colorful language.
So Rafe is Juliet's dad.
Yes, which is weird.
Ruth is her mom.
Yes.
So there's that. And then we find out that Gray Jenkins, who owns the costume shop, used to be married to Possum Smelly Nelly.
Yes.
Luckily, they don't have a child.
No.
I can't imagine what that would turn out
gosh.
like. It would either be a wild person covered in possum skins or, I guess, Billy.
I guess.
Billy, who wears a belt over a cardigan. Did you notice that?
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of, he's either got a bow tie on or that cardigan.
Billy really tries hard to look guilty throughout this whole episode. And then at the end, it's the whole ending, and we'll get to this.
There's just a switch that gets flipped and everything's
just
okay.
80s sitcom at
Yeah.
the end. Everybody's like, oh, somebody died.
It's all good now. Yay.
Are you on foot? No. Sims is like, I'll go get you.
I didn't understand why Mrs. Marlowe calls Rafe Bill or whatever she called. He shows up at her place because he's the mailman.
Yes.
And she calls him a different name and he answers to that name.
It has something to do with her mail. It's really weird, though.
He thinks that she likes to pretend that he's a character, and she says that it's because of the Pony Express.
Yeah.
Either way, it's like they have a little ritual
Yeah.
where she gives him tea.
And it's everything's not going to hit.
No.
With the weirdness.
It's just a strange moment, and it's almost like she's senile and likes to pretend that he's somebody who he's not, and he goes along with it. No, she just gets to call him a different name. I don't know.
He's a big guy to ride a bike all the time.
Yeah.
Breen explains about the car, that it's an alternator, to which Mike says, that was original.
That's probably why it needed to be replaced. I think my favorite character might be Timothy, the sensitive forklift driver. He just cries the whole
Timothy
time.
is fantastic. And did you notice?
He just cries.
He has,
He can't talk.
If you notice, Tim, the overly sensitive driver,
The sensitive forklift driver.
he's a St. Antonio Spurs fan.
That's kind of a long way.
He's got a basketball shirt on.
Ah.
I always am.
He's a good crier.
I'm always enamored with people who wear sports team shirts like from
Different continents.
different continents. Like,
I understand it when it's like a poorer country because you assume they're getting clothes from like knockoff clothes from other, larger, more developed countries or whatever. Yep. But that's not the case with New Zealand.
No,
so he must legitimately be a fan.
He's trying to look cool. Yep.
But he's weeping in his forklift. Ben's dead. Oh. Then the best. Sims goes to talk to Paula at the theater, and Paula is standing in front of a poster for a show that she and Rafe were in together before called Losing My Trousers.
Yes. It is pants splittingly fun. That is the quote from the Brokenwood Courier.
Wow. We will put we'll put the picture of the poster.
Splittingly. That's not a word.
No, splittingly?
Funny.
We'll put an image of the poster in the notes so you can see it if you missed it.
Jim Stride wrote that play.
What is it about?
I do not.
It's just Paula and Rafe. It's like a two-person show.
I would say that it's probably about a person who makes or mends trousers and the craziness that happens because of it.
See, I wondered if it was a reference to like New Zealand politics or something. Like maybe there was some politician who lost his pants.
But
or something.
It is really, it's fantastic, and they
look like vaudevillians.
They
on the
have
poster.
The vaudevillians in the poster, and they're like
frozen. Nobody can see you do that on a podcast. He made a posy fun clown face.
Yes. So Mike has never seen Lord of the Rings. That is another great thing. I don't like hairy feet. And Sims is like, oh, that explains your ex-wives. He's like, he defends his ex-wives here.
Well, kind of, but he says that none of them had hairy feet, but he said if one of them did, he'd have a problem.
Yeah. I think that's...
If you love somebody and they just happen to have hairy feet, you look past it.
But I think that's... Okay.
Or you give them gift certificates to waxing.
I think that's two things. I think, one, it's Mike being overly critical of women he wants to get out of a relationship with. We know that he's done that before. Mm-hmm. And two, I think Mike says things like that to screw around with people.
Oh, definitely Sims, because he knows how curious she is about his marriages.
Yeah.
And he just continues to do that. We see more and more of that as the show goes on. Gray says Rafe didn't know Sir Ian McKellen, that he was a dead orc, third corpse from the left in the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yes.
That's his claim to fame.
Which is great. And when you go to IMDb and you see Peter Hambleton's picture and you're like, oh, he was a dwarf.
But Gray's story about when he played Hamlet, I almost said Hamilton, when he played Hamlet with a paper bag on his head the whole time. And then I saw that quote about Mel Gibson's Hamlet being as subtly nuanced as a paper bag.
Yeah, I think that's a reference.
I think so.
I also think that, and I wish they had done more of this. Paula wants to do Hamlet as a woman, right? Mm-hmm. And Jared is Maori, but they make no reference to it. Mm-hmm. I wish they had when he is thrown out of the production, it feels like we throw the Maori kid out of the production. Kind of.
Really?
To me, that's what it felt like to me. And it has a bit of colonialism to it. Let's bring culture to the colonies.
See, to me, when they kick him out, the only thought I had was they're choosing Juliet's oversensitivity over the sensible person who's telling them, I didn't do anything.
Which I think...
I'm not into her.
If we're going to expand this more, it's almost like culturally what can happen in colonialism.
Like they won't listen to his side.
Yeah,
they take her side by default.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
I wish at the end, instead of doing Hamlet, they said, why don't we do something that is more local?
Yeah.
And they did some Maori stories or stuff from a Maori author.
Just something that was New Zealand.
That was at least New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like St. John, because I will not call him St. John.
I spelled his name Rafe in my notes. If he wants to be Rafe, he's Rafe.
He could be in England. Mm-hmm. Like he has a bit of an Aussie accent, but not much.
It's subtle. Another reference to midsummer type shows is, yes, somebody died on stage, but we're going to keep going. He would have wanted us to keep going.
Now,
like,
Rafe?
No, he wouldn't have. Ben would have, like, somebody died. Everybody's going to look at you guys and go, stop.
Now,
that's the end of the production.
Rafe wants to stop.
He says he does. He doesn't.
Oh, I know. Like,
that's a double bluff completely.
It's totally a double bluff.
He just wants it to be somebody else's idea. That's all. He gaslights Juliet with those flowers, saying they're from Jared.
Yeah.
Knowing that she's fragile
Rafe
for whatever reason.
is a horrible person.
Yes.
He poisons himself to get any suspicion off of him.
Are you surprised that he had amyl nitrate handy?
No. Even though he's asexual.
Sure he is.
Sure he is.
That's what he says because nobody wants to be anywhere near him.
Yes.
Not that asexuality isn't a real thing. There's people who really are. I just don't think Rafe is because he's fake in every way.
I totally agree.
When Mike goes to Mrs. Marlowe's and runs into Rafe there.
Yeah, she calls him Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. Bill, that's what she calls him, Bill. Mike says to her, she says, would you like some tea? And he says, yes, gumboot with milk.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's like builder's tea. Gumboot means really dark
tea.
Black tea.
Okay.
With milk. I had to look it up because I'm like, gumboot? What is this tea I've never heard of? What is gumboot tea? Where can I get some?
I'm like,
it's just black tea.
Is this tea out of Jared's gumboots?
His galoshes.
Galoshes.
Young Ben Faulkner was practicing homosexualism with Gray Jenkins. Practicing homosexualism.
Yes.
Mrs. Marlowe gets better.
Yes.
At first, she is just a gossip monger.
And she's a little overly conservative. That goes away.
I don't think that she's offended that they would be practicing the homosexuality. She's just interested in knowing what's going on.
And I think she doesn't know the lingo to say it right.
Right. She doesn't mean anything negative by it, except that it's salacious.
Yes.
But the whole it's still an active investigation. Oh, yeah, of course, Yeah. Yeah, I respect that. So what you're telling me is I'm right, but you can't confirm it because it's an active investigation. Like, I'm on the inside. It's okay.
Yep. Totally.
And she almost winks at me.
Let's be honest. If we were approached by the police about an ongoing investigation, we would ask them more questions than they asked us.
Oh my God. I still feel guilty about that. So there was a day a couple years ago, Mo's our oldest child. His class schedule on campus coincided with mine. So most days we would go into school together.
Yep.
We would ride into school together instead of him riding the public bus or whatever. And one day we passed this very nice home in our neighborhood. It was early in the morning. It was still dark.
Yep.
And the front door was open to this house. And it's a very nice house.
By the way, this is a cold opening.
Oh, totally. So the front door is standing open, and we noticed it because the inside lights were on.
Yeah.
But there was no car in the drive, and I already knew that a rather elderly woman lived there alone in this beautiful house. We drove by, and we both noticed the front door was standing open. Yeah. I was like, that's weird. So we went a couple blocks, and we agreed we needed to go back.
Yep.
Right? So we turn around, and we go back, and I pull into the drive. I parked across the street, and I told Mo, stay in the car. And I went up, and I stood in the open doorway and said, hello, is anybody here? Because I thought, well, maybe she just, she couldn't be out to get the mail or the paper. I would have seen her.
Yeah.
But maybe she just stepped out of the house and didn't close the door. Or came back in and didn't close it behind her. And there was no answer. Well, I wasn't going to go in.
No, you were going to find.
I've watched too many shows.
Crime scene. Yeah.
She's dead in there.
Yeah.
Somebody's broken in and killed her. So I go back to the car and I tell Mo what happened, and we call the police. We call 911. I've never called 911 before.
No.
And I tell them what happened, and they're like, stay there. We've got units nearby. They'll be right there. So two police cars pull up fairly quickly, lights on, no sirens, come out. We tell them, and like 3 of the 4 officers pulled their guns and went in and start yelling like, is anybody home? Is anybody here? Whatever.
Guns were drawn.
Well, they had their hands on their guns in the holster. Holster undone, hand on gun, right? And the 4th officer stayed out with us. And he said, thanks, you can go.
And you were like, but I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. I want to know like what happened. And we were like, okay, we were just concerned. Like, we'll just say some random stuff and keep talking to you so that we can kill some time while they are looking and to see what happens because, you know, we were worried and we were just going to school. And Mo is like, yeah, we have the same schedule. So we ride to work together and I'm going to class and I have a history class this morning. And we're just like totally killing time. And the 3 officers come out and they say, nobody's home. Nobody's here. Okay, so now we know nobody's there.
Yeah.
Now we have to leave, right? So we go and I go to work. And of course, I tell my friend at work, like, oh my gosh, this thing happened this morning. This is what happened. And I completely forgot about this, but she says, well, you know, my son is a policeman here in town. Do you want me to ask him if he can?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. She's like, I'll text him. I'll let you know later. And every time I saw her, I wanted to go, so? And she didn't say anything. So I was like, no, she doesn't know anything. Like, so? Yeah. The end of the day, she says, oh, I forgot it. He called me earlier and said that according to the report, like she left the house and just forgot to close the door. She's fine. Which I was relieved by, but
yes, it's nice.
But like all day, Mo and I are texting going, what do you think happened? Do you think somebody drug her out of the house? Do you think she's been kidnapped? Was her dog there? Her dog was gone too. Did they take the dog too? Did they take her car would have been in the garage. And we're like, blah, 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 blah. And we were almost disappointed that she was fine.
Yeah.
But we certainly stood there looking like a couple of dumb yokels going, well, we just, I don't know. We're just killing time until they come out because we got to know what happened.
That is Gene Marlowe to a T.
I sympathize with her because I am every bit as bad, if not worse. I know that now. And I still think about it when I pass that house on my way to work. Oh, if only there had been a real mystery.
Well, there's a final rehearsal, which is horrible.
And, okay, so Rafe tells Mike to come to the rehearsal.
Yes.
He invites him.
Yes, he does.
Makes a big scene about him being there, talking to the pharmacist, Neil.
Billy calls Jared Hamlet Pants.
Hamlet Pants. Billy is obviously in love with Juliet.
Yes.
And he can have her.
He can absolutely.
And of course, she has no interest in him because he actually likes her. So, you know.
I thought Jared did absolutely the right thing.
Yeah, he's like, okay, you want me gone? I'm gone.
I didn't send those flowers.
Yep.
And I have no interest in you. Like he's
straight up. He's not hurtful. He's not like, ew, I would never.
He's not any of those things.
He's trying to be kind, but honest.
And then when they say, we don't want you here, he goes, well, I don't want to be here, basically.
Yeah.
And
I think his feelings are hurt, but he knows where he's not wanted and he's going to go. He doesn't make a scene.
Unlike Rafe, who makes a big scene.
Puts cyanide in a capsule and bites on it.
Call an ambulance.
I love that he runs off, goes to the bathroom, snorts the amyl nitrate, and then comes back.
Yeah.
So he knows he's okay, but he comes back. And it really is an antidote for cyanide. Okay. But only for mild cyanide. So the way cyanide kills you is that it robs your red blood cells of oxygen.
Okay.
Systemically, if you have enough of it in you.
Yes.
And amyl nitrate does the opposite. It over-oxygenates your red blood cells, which is why it can make you kind of high. Yeah. It's like having breathing pure oxygen can make you giddy. Yeah. Right? So he runs off to the back. Because when Mike is in the bathroom on the phone with Sims, I'm like, why is he in the toilets?
Yes.
This is weird.
Yes.
Talking to Sims in the toilets. But it's because he's going to find the capsule floating in the toilet.
He's like the worst criminal ever.
Rafe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know how much of it he planned ahead. Like when they realize Ben can't be Hamlet, he didn't make Ben asthmatic.
No.
Now, he does see his opportunity to say, we can't have an asthmatic playing Hamlet,
Yes.
right? Which he's kind of right about.
And
So-
I'm not annoyed by Ben's asthma.
No, not at all. And I think...
Or Billy's asthma.
And I think Ben probably understood, like, yeah, you're right. I can't deliver all these lines.
Yeah.
It's hard on my lungs. I can't do it. So Rafe didn't plan that.
No.
But he is the one to say, well, we can't have an asthmatic be Hamlet. He sees his opportunity because he wants to be Hamlet. As lame and stupid as that, like, everybody gets older. Accept it. He jumps at that chance. When that doesn't work, he doesn't let it go.
No.
He should let it go.
He should.
But he kills him when he's not even playing Hamlet.
Yeah.
He should kill Jared.
Because of what he does to Juliet.
But that would mean that Rafe actually cares about Juliet.
I don't understand why Ben dumps Juliet.
He doesn't like her that much. What's wrong with that?
Well, okay. Sorry.
She's a dramatic nutso person.
I understand why he breaks up with her.
I don't understand why he ever dated her
I
in the
don't
first
know
place.
why he dated her.
Well, she's pretty.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she can be sweet. And then you realize what she's really like.
I guess.
Being in a play with her would really reveal her, I think.
Oh, most definitely. Speaking of revealing
But he
things,
really should kill Jared
yes.
if he wants to be Hamlet.
Well, I think that's what thinks about that and then thinks I can get rid of Jared another way.
Well, they both have blood packs.
Yeah.
So he might have...
I think Jared's blood pack at the end is...
It could have cyanide in it, too.
Because he's touching it, I think. I think I remember him touching.
He places it like he's going to take him out,
Yeah,
too.
I think so. So
Surely,
St.
if
John-
two people in the production die, you have to cancel the rest of the production. I mean, there's a limit.
Okay. St. John is in the hospital,
It's so nice of you to come and see me.
but so there's a tiny part right before they get to his room. Did you see that?
I don't know.
So a woman leaves his room and Sims goes, oh, I guess the courier's been here. Because that's the Brokenwood courier.
Oh, the reporter.
So she's a reporter.
Yeah. She's
And
like,
then-
death-defying actor. Show will go on.
So
that's what the headline
The show
will say.
will go on, says the headline. Other headlines in the newspaper include man found guilty of fraud charges. I'm like, who's found guilty of fraud charges? And then it has thousands turn out for food festival. What Brokenwood food festival?
It doesn't
would
have to be in Brokenwood.
thousands?
It could be in Riverstone.
The Riverstone Food Festival.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Because the
House-
Gazette covers both places. They say
and
that.
then the most innocuous written in headline ever: house prices on the rise. Of course they're on.
If you're a writer for a small town newspaper, you latch on to anything you can.
Sims is like bobbing and weaving with the newspaper. I'm like, stop, woman.
Hold still, I need to read that. Were you able to read the body of any of these stories?
No.
Darn it.
No. So we have this big thing at the end where Jared gets fired, Ray's taken over. We all know that Ralph is the killer. Goth Lady is returned to the theater. And they let him go out on stage. Like,
Well, they're chasing him.
Yeah.
He says there's 150 people out there. There's 50. I counted. There's 50.
well, 49 in the Goth Lady.
49 in the Goth Lady. I was like, well, he's not the only one exaggerating crowd sizes
Yes.
lately. But there's not.
or is delusional, because
Yeah.
I have that in my notes too.
I don't think there's 150 seats in that amphitheater,
No.
but it's a nice amphitheater.
Now,
It's
the
pretty.
other theater would have probably...
Yes, the indoor theater.
I kept on going, why are they not booing it in this theater?
And you're like, we're going to arrest you on stage.
Yeah.
Most dramatic thing to ever happen in that theater. And then they're like, Jared, put on the costume. Let's go. Like, no, you just arrested a murderer.
Yep.
The play is canceled.
Yes. And then it becomes a 1980s sitcom.
At the end,
because it's like, Jared, you could still play the part. Mama da ba dum ba.
We always knew you weren't a bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those people are horrible to him.
He should be like, I'm out of here.
Yep. And then it's like, oh, there's a little scene where Billy's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a cool guy now. And then there's the scene with Breen and the grade 12 paper. And it's like they're playing sitcom wrap it up music.
Yes.
And then they all hold hands and jump in the air at the end of the episode. And it freeze frames. The ending is horrendous.
Yeah.
It is.
After the arrest,
Yeah.
the rest of it was just like, it just shouldn't.
It's just like,
Yeah.
let's wrap all these things up at once. And poor Gray's stuck in interrogation with blood packs all over his mouth.
Well, it's coffee and cochineal
Yeah.
and maple syrup.
Yeah.
And it's just smeared all over his face. And you just feel bad for him.
I wonder if they have actual maple syrup in New Zealand. We'll have to ask our New Zealand people.
If they have maple trees where they can get maple syrup or if it's all imported.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine how expensive it is
Because
if
it's
it's imported?
expensive already.
It's expensive here.
Yeah.
And we can make it here.
Yes.
I can't imagine how
of
expensive it
course-
would be if they didn't have their own trees.
Only Canadian maple syrup for your boy.
Yeah, elitist.
Yep. Oh, it tastes better.
So yes, Ruth is nutsy bobo,
Yes.
but it's also small town school teacher.
But
Knows every person who's ever been in her class, remembers them even as adults.
that's what I don't like about the ending is that everyone is horrible to Jared and everyone is slightly bonkers and delusional. But everyone, including Rafe, who killed somebody, and then everybody's back to normal.
Wouldn't
and
they
they're
all be standing around going, "Oh my God, Rafe killed Ben"?
Yes, what the dog owner lady would go insane. She would be so upset.
Ruth would say, "My daughter's dad is a murderer.
Yeah, and I know you have to do a balance. In
I
these
have a
shows.
child with a killer."
With a cozy, you have to do
You
a
have
balance.
to let some things go.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that Mike has shown up in this town and nothing but murder has reigned supreme since then. But
this is too much.
This is too much.
So here's how I would have ended it. Okay. The way I would have ended it is they would have confronted Rafe. He would have gotten away from them and run up on stage, right?
Yeah.
But Ruth or Paula would have heard the interaction and realized they were right. He was a killer. And come on stage from the other side and confronted him on stage.
Yep.
Maybe
with a sword.
You killed my Benny.
Yep.
Because she felt like a mother to Ben.
Yep.
You killed my awesome orphans.
Yes.
And he would have been like, "But I was born to play Hamlet." And then Jared would have run on and said, "No, mate, that's my role. Thank you very much." And Billy would have come out and said, "But you're Juliet's dad and you manipulated her feelings and made Jared look like a bad guy. You're awful." And then they would have arrested him. So they would have acted all of that out on stage. And then the audience would have been like, "Bravo, bravo."
That is a better ending.
Better end.
Yeah.
There should have been as much drama in the resolution.
And then you have the three principals, Breen, Sims, and Mike on stage, sitting on the edge of the stage where everybody's gone.
Yeah.
And then they say, "Well, I guess that's as you like it," or...
No. Then Ruth walks by behind him, taps Breen on the shoulder and says, "You still owe me a paper."
Yeah.
And walks off the other side.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
That would have been better.
They should hire us.
We should be writers for the show.
Poor Breen has to dig through the trash in his suit.
I just think Tim Baum, who I want to tell Tim, I love you, Tim.
Oh, he's a great writer.
He had never written mysteries before.
Nope.
This is his
hard.
sixth mystery.
Yeah.
In probably less than 18 months.
Yeah.
And he's writing movies.
Yeah.
They're 90 minutes long.
And I give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
For plot. It's much better than many cozy mystery plots are.
Yes.
But he does better episodes on this show.
It's better than, I love Mrs. and Mrs. Murder, but those plots are not. You watch Mr. and Mrs. Murder because you love the goofy banter between them.
You know who did it. It's not hard to figure out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you love.
This is better than Murder, She Wrote plots.
Yes.
It's just not if you're ranking Brokenwood, which is already better than most mystery TV shows.
Yes.
It's a 7 out of 10 for Brokenwood.
I would agree.
What's next week?
Well, nothing is next week. I'm going to tell you, listeners, we've done 7 episodes in a row and covered 8 shows in 7 weeks. Because remember, we did 2 Poirots on the last episode.
Yes.
So with Halloween and the election coming up, we need a bit of a break.
We're just going to take 2 weeks off.
Yep, we're going to take...
I also have a stupid medical test on a Saturday when we usually record.
We just have a lot going on over the next 2 weeks. We will return on the 11th of November, which is Remembrance Day in all the colonies. And with Brokenwood Season 2, Episode 3, Catch of the Day. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed today is we will probably be able... So the end of Season 3 is the Christmas episode. Mm-hmm. So we should be able to end Season 3, because I think we can just go ahead on into Season 3 and with the remix of that Christmas episode right on time for Christmas.
Hey! Awesome.
That would be fantastic. So if the world hasn't ended before then.
Oh, don't talk like that.
By the way, I have to do a Kickstarter too.
I'm very jealous of people who don't live in the United States right now.
After the 11th of November, you will hear all about my Kickstarter.
It's crazy here, people.
So, yes. It is Looney Tunes for all sorts of reasons, but we're going to take 2 weeks off, so we will return on the 11th of November.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
We don't need to do a dead body because
there's just
one. And I think, what do you think production they do next?
Maybe they'll do a reprise of Losing My Trousers, but with Juliet.
With Jared and Juliet.
I was thinking Juliet and Billy.
Maybe.
I don't think Jared's going to be doing any theater after this. I think he's going to be done.
I think so. On the reminder this week, if you didn't see it, I put there's quite the steamy picture of Jared in costume as Hamlet.
He looks great in that costume.
Yeah, that I used for the
I wasn't
reminder
able
picture.
to find out if the actor who plays Jared ever played Hamlet on stage. If he did, it's not credited in IMDb. So
again, he shows his range in this episode.
He's a good actor.
That he's so much better of an actor than we realize.
Yeah. All right. So that was To Die or Not to Die.
And we will return again on the 11th of November with Brokenwood Mysteries Season 2, Episode 3, Catch of the Day.
Until then, follow us on the socials. We'll still be posting stuff even though we're not releasing an episode for 2 weeks.
Yes, and we will be posting the Halloween pictures and all sorts of interesting things. So
we'll miss you.
Yes.
All right. Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs. Thanks for joining us on the Mystery Maniacs podcast. If you enjoyed our crazy podcast today, don't miss out on future episodes. Follow us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive sneak peeks. Subscribe, like, and share to spread the word. Bye, Maniacs.
Until then, stay tuned on the socials. You can find us here.
Yes, we'll have more Halloween pictures and stuff.
I thought you'd put the thing.
Oh, no. Well, it's at the end of the episode anyway.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.